everyone. I'm excited that you guys have joined us for the last journal club of the semester. And so I'm excited. This group of amazing social media content experts have done a phenomenal job this semester. And so I'm excited to have Veronica and Nate bring it back to the home plate, because I'm excited about everything that has been happening this semester. So, having said that, these amazing esteemed presenters will present their review of the article, How Have Media Campaigns Been Used to Promote and Discourage Healthy and Unhealthy Beverages in the United States? And so they will review this article. We've been reviewing health articles all semester. And the cool thing is they have all been open source articles. So we have permission to review these out loud and over the internet. So that's one thing I'm especially excited about, because we've never done that before in class. And so the next voice that you will hear from is from Nate or from Veronica.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. Looking forward to diving into this study. Veronica and I both enjoyed looking into this. And as an avid Coke Zero drinker myself, this one really hit home. So the idea behind this study is, how have media campaigns been used to promote and discourage healthy and unhealthy beverages in the United States, primarily from the mid 2010s through the early 2020s. The study summarizes, and it's going to outline the impact of the media on public health behaviors, primarily focusing on campaigns targeted to United States citizens here in the United States, aimed at reducing sugary beverage consumption. And sugary beverages are a major source of added sugars in American diets, contributing to obesity and other health issues. I, for one, again, I joke, but I can attest to this. I was an avid Dr. Pepper drinker for years. And just a personal story to kind of connect this study and why it means so much to me. When my son was born, I was about 390 pounds. And sugary beverages were a big part of my day. Anywhere between 8 to 10 Dr. Peppers a day. The switch to a zero sugar soda was a big part of what I did, because I needed that caffeine. I needed that burst of energy, but that additional sugar was big. And again, I can personally attest to it. Back to this study. This study categorizes different campaign types, reviews existing U.S. beverage guidelines, and examines the consumption and marketing trends. The authors of this study analyze campaigns that promote healthy choices like water, milk, unsweet tea, coffee, and also discourage sugary drinks, offering insights to future media strategies and to shift the norm towards healthier hydration behavior. So when we get into the digestion, the Q&A of this study, we really want to look at how can we effectively promote healthy beverages moving forward. Quick introduction, and Veronica will dive deeper into this chart here a little bit later. There were 280 campaigns organized into 6 different typology categories, including corporate marketing strategies, public awareness, public policy, social marketing, corporate social responsibility, and counter marketing. And you could kind of see the breakdown there of what was studied. The results came from a systematic search of the published and gray literature for U.S. media campaigns used to influence non-alcoholic beverage behaviors, organize the campaigns chronologically by campaign type into the media campaign typology, and synthesize evidence from published media campaigns to evaluate the findings. Right? Consumption patterns of sugary beverages vary. So this study identified that between 2003 and 2016, sugary beverage intake remained highest among Black, Mexican American, and non-Mexican Latino consumers during that period. A significant increase in the heavy sugary beverage intake was observed among older adults over 60 years old, with no change in heavy beverage consumption. Among adults aged 40 to 59 and non-Mexican Latino adults from 2003 to 2016. So essentially, they found what they liked and they were sticking to it, right? Uh, why this is so important. Consumption patterns of sugary beverages, on average, half to two-thirds of American adults and nearly two-thirds of U.S. children consume at least one sugary beverage a day, and contribute 130 or more calories to their daily energy intake, which is obviously huge. And I would assume that my own personal consumption probably helped to really boost these numbers. Fighting the battle against sugar. Why is this so important, right? What are we looking at? It's the added sugars that we're looking at into our natural diet, right? Our natural diets, of course, we're going to take in sugar. Um, Fruit has natural sugars to it. The healthy things that we take in, it's those additional sugars that we're putting into our body. According to the 2020 Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee, sugary beverages contribute 30% to children, 50% to adolescents, 60% to adult of additional sugar to their diets. So the recommended alternative, what these campaigns sought to encourage people to partake in, right? Water and other beverages that have natural benefits, including low fat, non-fat milk, 100% juice, soy milk, things like that. Coffee, tea, and flavored water without the added sugar or trans fats. Drinks that are less than or equal to 400 milligrams of caffeine intake per day. Drinks that are less than 10% of total daily calories from your added sugar, and just finding a way to replace these additional sugars. That's what this study really wanted to deep dive into. The study methodology. It wanted to look at three burning questions, right? And then how did they choose to address it? And after I go over these research questions, then I'm going to turn it over to Veronica to discuss the findings. So research question one, what did this study want to look at? What specific media campaigns were used to encourage Americans to purchase and or consume healthy beverages, right? Recommended by U.S. expert bodies to promote, discourage unhealthy sugary beverages through 2021. Again, this article was published in October of 2021. That's going to be the data. How did they address question one? They searched for electronic databases for campaigns around the non-sugary beverage campaigns. For the pro-sugar campaigns, obviously there are tons in the United States, right? They wanted to focus on the largest U.S. market share, so they kept the pro-sugar campaigns to Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Nestle. Research question two, how are the U.S. beverage campaigns categorized into the media campaign typology? How did we break those 6 categories up? And how did we, what do each of those 6 mean? And again, Veronica will dive deeper into that. They compiled all the included campaigns into an evidence table using the categories of published media and organized them chronologically based on years. And then the final question that they wanted to find in this study, how can the collective findings from this study inform strategies to promote healthy hydration behavior and reduce sugary beverage health risks for Americans? One of the themes that continued to come up throughout this study was looking at tobacco-free America, and how the tobacco-free messaging and campaign from an early age, talking to the youth about the importance of not smoking. Can this be a catalyst similar to the tobacco-free campaign? How can we start to get this into people's minds and their lives to veer them off of these additional sugar beverages? How did they address it? They searched the master list of RQ1 to identify the campaign evaluations and provide data outcomes. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Veronica to dive deeper into the key findings.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Veronica, and I'm going to be taking it from here, going over the final 3 chapters of our article. First, I wanted to say, unlike Nate, I am a huge soda hater, but I do not like carbonation in the slightest bit. But this article really interests me because I have nieces and nephews who are addicted to soda, and I wanted to see, what campaign strategies they used. Maybe I can, convince my own nieces and nephews. So that's why it interests me. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. So, to understand the scope and focus of US-based media campaigns around sugary beverage consumption, the study identified 4,271 records, narrowing them down to 280 campaigns relevant to promoting or discouraging sugary beverage intakes. These campaigns were categorized into 6 key types. First, corporate advertising, the largest category, which made up 66% of campaigns, which was 184, that focused heavily on promoting branded sugary beverages. These campaigns typically used extensive marketing budgets to boost demand and brand loyalty. Two was public information, which represented 9.6% of the campaigns. This type focused on providing informational content about health and beverage choices, with 27 campaigns aimed at educating the public on making healthier decisions. Three was public policy, accounting for 8.2% or 23 campaigns. These efforts support legislative changes related to beverage consumption, such as advocating for soda taxes or advertising restrictions. Then for social marketing, making up 7.1% of campaigns, social marketing efforts promote healthy drink choices such as water, milk, 100% juice, and alternatives to sugary beverages. Five, corporate social responsibility, CSR. So around 5.7% of campaigns, or 16, fall under CSR. These campaigns promote beverages with an environmental or social cause to build positive brand associations. And then six, counter marketing. So finally, counter marketing campaigns represents 3.6%, 10 campaigns, challenge and counteract the marketing practices of sugary beverage companies. These findings provide a broad look at the various approaches used to influence beverage choices in the U.S., with corporate advertising taking the lead by a significant amount. So now let's look at the evaluation insights and shortcomings from the study's analysis of 20 evaluated campaigns. First, positive changes were noted in terms of raising short-term awareness and knowledge about risk associated with sugary beverage consumption. This suggests that many campaigns successfully captured public attention and educated audience, at least in the short term. When looking at behavioral outcomes, 11 out of 13 campaigns showed a reduction in sugary beverage intake among participants. This is promising. It demonstrates that these efforts can lead to healthier choices. However, there was limited data on long-term impacts, both in terms of changing social norms around sugary drinks and in seeing sustained health benefits. Few campaigns managed to achieve deep-rooted, long-lasting shifts in behavior. Some key findings from this evaluation reveal a major challenge. The majority of campaigns lack comprehensive evaluation methods, making it difficult to assess long-term effectiveness or policy impact. Additionally, very few campaigns reported any lasting influence on policy or sustained behavioral modification. These findings highlight the need for more thorough long-term evaluation strategies to truly measure the impact of these health campaigns. In discussing the takeaway from the study, 3 key challenges emerge. First, corporate dominance. For over 130 years, corporations have launched highly persuasive and well-funded campaigns promoting sugary drinks. This long-standing investment in advertising has created a deeply rooted culture of sugary beverage consumption. Next, challenges for public health campaigns. Public health initiatives face significant financial constraints compared to corporate campaigns. Public health campaigns face challenges in competing with extensive reach and frequency of corporate advertising due to limited resources and funding. Finally, there's a lack of long-term impact. Few public health campaigns reported any lasting social or policy changes, and none showed significant improvements in overall public health. This indicates that while some campaigns may raise short-term awareness, sustained change in health outcomes remain a challenge. These insights highlight the necessity for better funding for more effective strategies if we aim to change the norms regarding sugary beverage consumption on a larger scale. The article concludes with several recommendations for future research to enhance the effectiveness of campaign targeting sugary beverage consumption. 1. PSE strategies. It suggests that media campaigns be integrated with broader policy, system, and environmental changes, similar to comprehensive anti-tobacco efforts. This approach could help create long-lasting change. 2. Effective messaging framing. Future campaigns should explore various message strategies to identify which are most effective in shifting behavior and perceptions around sugary drinks. 3. Targeting diverse populations. Campaigns should be tailored to reach different demographic groups, considering factors like age, culture, and social economic status to make messages more relevant and impactful. 4. Multi-year evaluations. Long-term studies are crucial for measuring sustained impact. Securing funding for multi-year evaluations can help determine if behavioral changes last over time. 5. Public perception of beverage taxes. Educating the communities about benefits of beverage taxes could support policy adoption and increase public acceptance. And then 6, youth engagement. Drawing inspiration from successful anti-tobacco campaigns, engaging youth as advocates could be a powerful way to normalize healthier beverage choices from an early age. These recommendations provide a roadmap for developing more impactful campaigns that can achieve lasting shifts in public health behaviors. So, to wrap up, let's summarize the key findings from the study on media campaigns. So first, the short-term success. Media campaigns have shown to be effective at raising awareness, influence behavior in the short term. This is promising and it suggests that campaigns can capture public attention and motivate healthier choices, even if it's temporary. 2, the need for policy integration. To achieve a true and lasting impact, media campaigns need to be coupled with policy support. Policies like beverage taxes, advertising restrictions, and school-based interventions can reinforce the message conveyed through media. And 3, call for comprehensive research. Lastly, there's a need for more funding and research. Comprehensive long-term studies are essential to gauge whether these campaigns can lead to sustainable behavior change and meaningful improvements in public health. This concludes the point to the potential of media campaigns to influence healthier habits, especially when supported by policies backed through thorough research. So thank y'all so much for your attention.
I think at this time we'll open it up for questions and discussion.
And remember, if you don't have any questions, I can always dive in. So ask questions.
So we have some. Veronica and I kind of, as we were studying through this, we came up with some FAQs to kind of help us really consider what it was that we were taking in. So, some of them are, what are the main health risks, right, of sugary beverages? Why is this so important? Sugary drinks, the ones that add additional sugars onto your diet, are linked to things like obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease. Nearly 60% of added sugars in adults come from beverages, which we talked about in there.
I can talk about another one was how prevalent is sugary beverage consumption among the US population. So over half of US adults and almost 2/3 of children consume at least one sugary beverage daily, adding approximately 130 calories to their daily intake.
That's a very good reflection question. Wow, that's all I can say about that. And is that 130 per beverage, or is that on average the amount that they're at? Is that per beverage?
Per beverage, yeah, approximately.
Oh my gosh.
They're having at least one, but not limited to just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because obviously you're looking at it's not just sodas, right? It could be energy drinks too.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you look at the energy drink intake, that's going to be significantly higher than just a regular Dr. Pepper. So yeah, on average, 130.
And energy drinks are really being promoted to children nowadays. I mean, you have this new Mr. Beast Lunchleys box, and our Lunchables has a Capri Sun, which already is sugary enough, but this new Prime drink that they have in there is an energy drink that they are promoting and selling to kids in a box. And energy drinks and things like that should not be nutritionally and health-wise, it's just hurting them.
Veronica, I was
And
just about to say the same thing too. I mean, especially with the Prime drink, I mean, YouTube is a big thing with kids these days. And so these energy drink companies are bringing in these influencers that are posting blogs on YouTube promoting these energy drinks. And I mean, now you're seeing younger and younger audiences starting to drink these energy drinks, which I didn't even have really an energy drink until I was kind of an adult. I mean, there was just no need for it. My parents didn't let me, but now you're kind of starting to see that transition of younger children starting to drink them.
Yes, and to answer your question, Dr. Edwards, Mr. Beast is the most popular YouTube person at the moment. So it's like 260 million followers, and he's promoting these, energy drinks to students or like to kids. It's to the point where they are feeling left out. If they're not, why don't I have a Prime drink at lunch, And so it's causing a lot like that.
And one thing, we talked a little bit about the campaigns for healthier drinks. Um, I think the more we start to see, I think back to when I was in grade school, right between junior high, high school, and I'm aging myself, but uh, the importance of that Got Milk campaign. I mean, it's one of, in my opinion, one of the most iconic beverage campaigns um, of our generation or of my generation. When you walk in and there's a new poster in your school of Shaquille O'Neal, or, I remember when Carrie Underwood was on the poster right after she won American Idol, with the milk mustache, and it was very simple, Got Milk. Um, I think it's important too, not to necessarily look at just how do we turn people off of sugary beverage. It's how do we turn them on to the healthy beverages, right? Because I know I'm supposed to drink water. My wife tells me that all the time. Uh, doesn't mean that I like drinking water. So how can we turn these campaigns from don't do this, this is bad, do this other option because this other option is really good, right? I think that would be a key thing to look at for this study.
Yeah, there was one trend like happening on TikTok not too long ago that I forgot what it was called, but I think maybe like fun waters. So it was like make my water of the day. And I mean they were yes, they're these sugary drinks, but they were sugar-free sugary drinks, trying to promote drinking water more frequently, more often, which still, I know that, plain water is the best go-to, but just little things like that, anything that can help people turn away, like Nate said, like shift them to something that is an healthier option, is always better. Like those trends are always helpful for these kind of things when it comes to marketing.
And one note here as well, uh, on the sweeteners, right? Um, this study also talked about an increase in uh, caloric sweeteners and non-nutrient. I butchered this word every time. Non-nutritive sweeteners like sucralose and stevia, right? So when you're looking at beverages, this is one for me that I used again when I shifted gears from soda, having an unsweet tea with stevia, right? So stevia is essentially Splenda, right? It's the non-nutritive sweetener that is more organic. It's more natural. Uh, and now those things are becoming more and more prevalent. You can walk up and down the hall of any store, grocery store, and they've actually got the squirt bottles of stevia sweetener now. Um, so I think it's important, again, not just to get away from those and promote those other ones, but educating the next generation of youth and beverage drinkers about how to drink, take in the correct sugars, right, and the correct sweeteners.
Mhm.
And you guys, let's
I,
provide an opportunity for our audience to ask questions as well.
Yes, absolutely. I see a hand raised there.
hi. Mine wasn't necessarily a question, but I was like gonna tag in on what you guys were talking about. this may be a little TMI, but I'm pre-diabetic. My doctor told me that few months ago. So you guys were talking about the drinks, how they try to promote them as healthy when they're not. And I made the mistake of actually drinking one. I couldn't remember, but it actually gave me heart palpitations, which is terrible. And what's funny about being on my health journey is that I know when I'm consuming way too much sugar because that's how I grew up, eating a lot of sugar, consuming a lot of it. And so when I drank that drink, and I wish I could really remember it, but again, it gave me heart palpitations, and I could just feel the sugar just running through my veins, and it was just a crazy amount. And I was telling a friend about this. I was like, dude, that's not healthy. Like, don't drink those. Like, it gave me heart palpitations. And they were like, of course it hits people differently, but they were also surprised that I was having like complications from that. But I was like telling them like those nutrient facts on there, while they may try to make it seem like, oh, this is healthy, you're good to go. But I feel like there's also other ingredients in those drinks and even just the products overall that's actually detrimental to people's health.
I know aspartame is another controversial one right now. So you're absolutely right. It's more than just sugar in some of these. Great insight.
So I am a big Coke Zero drinker, just like Nate. Like every day, I at least have to have one, right? And so I think my big question is, we see like Coke, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, like they're making their sodas all zero products. I mean, Sprite has even made their Christmas seasonal Sprite. It is already in a zero flavor now. And so do y'all think that we would see like health changes overwide if we saw other sodas like Fanta or root beer, things that we don't see? And maybe like we see a full transition to where sodas are just having that zero option.
I definitely think so. To answer just out of my own opinion, I think so. I mean, I think that you see, zeros for Cokes and Dr. Peppers, and you said now Sprite. I didn't know about that one, but like I know a huge market is like Fanta. I've never seen a Fanta Zero. Or just any other type of sugary drinks. Like I had mentioned Capri Suns earlier, if those were zero, all these other drinks that Sunny D. And I know that's one that, is given to a lot of kids as like a juice when, we know it's not an actual real orange juice. I think that it would really help if these different drinks were made in a healthier alternative, just to at least have people start making their slow steps to away from that super, super sugary drink.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an even greater shift over the next few years. I mean, because just kind of putting this into perspective, this study was done in 2021. Most of these zero sugar drinks have come since 2021. So I would want to give these authors a lot of credit, right, for the research that they put in, because I mean we can see over the past 5 years. I went to the store the other day and I bought cranberry juice zero. I didn't even know that was a thing. We're talking about 100% juice, but they're having to market certain things as zero sugar, right? Whether it's cranberry juice or other things. One thing, just kind of my own opinion, that made me laugh. I saw a Mountain Dew Zero, which I assumed was just water, and so because I didn't know you could make Mountain Dew without without an abundance of sugar. So, um, but yeah, no, I think we've already started to see that trend, and I think for sure it'll continue.
Yes, and I also think that there's so many sodas out there we're already seeing like Poppy, and I know I've had like one called Zevia. It's a soda with just straight stevia leaves, and I've had that before, and I'm not a big soda drinker, but to me it tasted the same. And it was an alternative using something healthier, and I think if those marketing strategies continue to increase and improve, that we'll see even a bigger increase.
And I think that's something that Coke has actually done a really good job on. They have been marketing the Coke Zero, I feel, a lot more than they have the regular Coke. So I actually got the opportunity to go to the Austin City Limits Festival this year, and they had the Coke studios all set up, and they were there, and they were actually just serving the Coke Zero. And they were promoting that a lot more. And so I don't know if that was just by the population in the area that we were in, or whatnot. But I definitely think that they have been marketing and pushing out the zero options a lot more than the regular options.
And I also think too, on that topic, in recent years, a lot of these companies are getting away from the diet, right? Again, Dr. Edwards, you may remember this. Remember when in the mid 2000s or so, the big campaign was diet tastes just like the real thing, right? So, I remember seeing commercials from Dr. Pepper, where they would actually like take a ice cream scoop into a diet Dr. Pepper bottle and say, tastes just like ice cream. You should drink it. Right. And so I think we've seen a big shift in these companies promoting a quote unquote diet drink and steering heavily into the zero sugar drink. So I think we'll continue to see a lot more of that as well. Did you still have a question? I see your hand still raised. Do you want to chime in? Oh,
Sorry, I was just gonna say more of a like, when I was in business school, we were learning about what I like to call a cash grab. Is how like these companies use these labels heavily to like reel people in, like with disinformation. And that's what I was fearing about like the zero label. Similar to what they do with like gluten free. They put gluten free on a lot of things, even if it is gluten free. It's like they're using these labels to, it's like kind of like a fishing net to catch people. It's like, now that we got you, now that we got know that you're attracted to these labels, we'll just put it on a lot of our products. That way you can keep buying our stuff. Maybe that's just me. Maybe because I'm the skeptic here, but that's kind of how I feel about these labels these days. It's like, and because they don't always are not 100% honest about what's actually in the food or the product that you're buying.
That's a really good point. I mean, as someone who is gluten-free from celiac, I mean, I'll walk past pickles that are labeled gluten-free, and it's my biggest pet peeve because I'm like, obviously they're gluten-free. Like that is just you're just increasing the price. It's my biggest pet peeve. I will pass like potatoes, gluten-free certified. Of course. So I could see how that could be a cash grab, just something they stick on another label. That's a really good point.
you mind if I ask how do you pronounce your name? I'd love to be able to call on you by your name, and I don't want to mispronounce it.
Seon.
Seon. Thank you so much for that.
Of course.
Um, that Veronica, that's a really good point about the just adding gluten free so you can jack up the price. I used to say that a lot about buying shirts as a bigger guy, right? Like that you get that extra $2 for XL and double XL. I don't see you taking $2 off for small and medium, right? So that like I feel like there should be an average here, but
Were there any other questions y'all had?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I kind of had a question that came to mind. During the presentation, y'all were saying like some of these campaigns that were, pushing this information about all of the disadvantages to drinking these sugary drinks, and they were seeing short-term change, but not long-term change. If y'all were to host y'all's own social media campaign, promoting, these healthier drinks, how do y'all think y'all could do it differently to kind of see that long-term behavioral change with y'all's target audience?
I'll jump in first, and then Veronica, if you want to follow up. My recommendation again would be more positive focused, right? Because if your campaign is solely about attacking the sugary drinks, then their response is going to be what? Well, there's zero sugar, right? And so then that puts a dent in your campaign right from the jump, right? But if your campaign is focused, and I go back to the Got Milk campaign, right? Got Milk was about promoting milk, right? And the importance of strong bones and all of the positive aspects that come to it. And again with anti-tobacco, right? The anti-tobacco, I think we saw a really good shift for a little while in turning away smoking, right? There was a great campaign about teaching kids, not to smoke and not to do that. So a big anti-cigarette push. Um, but then what did the tobacco companies do? They shifted, right? We got away from promoting cigarettes. We promote things like vaping, right? So if our entire focus is about don't do this because this is bad versus you should do this because this is healthy, I think those campaigns will be a lot more successful longer term. Again, just my opinion. If I were doing the campaign, is try to focus on your health benefits and what it does for you, so that no matter how the opposition changes, you can continue with a consistent message. Veronica, anything to add?
I definitely agree with that. I think also just the aspect of, I mean, we see here in this article that a lot of children are being affected, and a lot of like my generation, Gen Z, and I think that it's really important to be pointing out things that are informative too, like how sugary drinks, they affect your mental health. They increase anxiety, they increase depression, they increase those things that you want to avoid. And I think highlighting things like that, for our generation that does struggle with those things very highly, would just be really encouraging and helpful, just to like piggyback on anything that I would do also.
Dr. Edwards.
So people from YouTube are weighing in as well. And so we have two questions. One question is, how do you think you can use social media to promote drinking water?
Well, it hasn't worked on me yet. So
I think that the TikTok trend of like the fun water was a good way. And I think that the whole Stanley thing could have gone in its own route too, where it wasn't just promoting Stanley, it was promoting drinking water. I know we're on to like Uwalas or something like that. But just using those fun like drink cups, to also encourage drinking water, I think would be another way.
I would add too, in today's landscape, right? We talk about the cost of groceries being up right now. I think one area where you could talk about this in social media is the use of Brita filters, right? To be able to reusable cups like Stanley's, right? To be able to take tap water, convert it into healthy drinking water, and be able to promote not only as a healthy option, but as especially for big families. I've got a family of four. To be able to take the tap water and convert it right there at home. I would say you can use that mode of communication, that target audience. That would probably work best in my house right now.
Yeah, it would save a lot of money if you would
Yeah.
just put in tap. What was your other question?
No, I was just going to comment right quick. It's so funny how we think like big families are families of four now. And when like back in the day, like big families were like families of like, 10 and 12. And so it's, no, I really like that. But yeah, I live in a household of three. So yes, one more would be a family of four. And so that would be a significant dent in our grocery bill.
No, my
Go ahead, Veronica.
brother, he's a family of 13, and I don't think my grandma could have ever afforded a single soda. I have water all the way.
That is, I mean, well, and it's funny. It's like my mom and dad both came from families of like six and then one of 12. And so it's just like, they weren't used to having a smaller family. And so it's like they were able to maximize dollars that way. But yeah, I mean, water is less expensive unless you're buying bottled water, which is very interesting. Right. Bottled water is almost the same cost. I mean, if you're buying it at a convenience store, as like Sprite or Coke or whatever. And so it's very interesting how that marketing has taken place as well. Okay,
well, and the possibility of like a co-brand with a with a reusable cup company, right? So if you're trying to promote, if you're Brita and you're talking about the at-home filters, let's see if we can partner with Stanley, get a Brita and a Stanley for tag team for Christmas, right?
I like that. All in one package at Walmart. It can work. It can work. Or all like right by one another on the aisle. That's it doesn't have to be in one package. Just put it placement.
Get them.
Okay,
get them
so
both
the next question is, The next question is, and it will cause you to think. Okay, here we go. How do you balance health concerns with our free enterprise model in the United States? So capitalism and freedom of choice are American ideals, but that can sometimes compete with our health standards in the US.
That was a great question.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. So basically, they're asking. So we value individualism and free choice in the U.S., and companies can make their own decisions. But how does that coincide or go with promoting health if soda companies and Pepsi and all of our sugar branded companies have the freedom of choice to promote whatever they want to whomever they want, but then yet there's this whole other piece about promoting health and wellness from a state and local and federal governmental standpoint. So how do you balance free enterprise and business with what the government wants to do?
Oh,
sorry about that question this week,
no,
guys.
that's deep. That's a great question. And I want to give it the respect it deserves to think about it. Again, only speaking for myself here. I think are we talking from the lens, from the perspective of the corporate company?
You could actually take either perspective. So it would be interesting if one of you took one perspective and another took the other perspective. So one from the company standpoint, one from the governmental standpoint.
Sure. I mean, I think from a company standpoint, how do you balance it? Right. They've started doing that, right? Zero sugar, gluten free. They've done that. If you want it, come and get it. It's here for you. Right. At the end of the day, it's bottom line's about making money. And yes, we want to make money. Coke wants to make money, Pepsi. But they also, not only do they have to keep these corporate companies, not only do they have to keep pace with the changing lifestyle of their consumer, because let's be honest, the health concerns, Dr. Edward, we've talked about this in the comments, they're far more different now than they were 10, 20 years ago. There is a changing audience in the world. So these corporate companies, they have to keep, at the end of the day, they have to keep up with their audience, right? And so I think as long as our audience is prioritizing their health, it's going to force these companies to do it. They can't just serve Mountain Dew the way they used to back in the 90s, right? And you remember I'm a big fan of the show How I Met Your Mother, right? So if anybody's ever seen it, when they're driving to Chicago and they say tantrum, right? That soda that makes them want to rip a phone book in half. I think in the 90s when I was a kid, it was called Surge, when it was just nonstop sugar. But companies aren't like that now. They can't put those forward because they know their consumers don't want them. They have to find a way to keep that fine line of balancing the health conscious audience that they're talking to. And I think that's where they find that balance. We're going to continue to put forward the sugary beverages because I know there's lots of Nates out there that will continue to purchase and continue to drink. But we've also got to keep pace with the audience. And our audience has shown that they are interested in their health. They, like Seon said, they know the ingredients that are coming in here, and that puts the pressure on them to have to compete.
I think also, like Sayon commented, I don't know if the person on YouTube can see, she said, as long as the companies are paying taxes, the government is happy. And I have to say, I kind of agree with that. As long as they're doing their part, I mean, we can only, at the end of the day, they're a company who's promoting these sugary drinks, and we are trying to combat that. That doesn't mean it's gonna, we're hurting them in any way. I mean, they have so many people buying and so many people who haven't yet heard about the benefits. And so many new people, new families every day that are, discovering these sugary drinks. We're just trying to give a healthier alternative for those who are interested in a, healthier source themselves.
And one last note, and then I'll turn it over to Seon for her question. The one thing too is, at the end of the day with corporate, the bottom line is what matters, right? For folks like Coke, Pepsi, Nestle, when people stop buying the sugary beverages, then a lot of those things are going to fall off the table. They're not going to be a priority for them anymore, because if it costs them more money to make than what they're bringing in, then I think the health conscious audience that is buying from them help dictate what's coming out from them. If the consumers say, I need more healthy options, that's what's going to come, because at the end of the day, they got to make the bottom line happy. Sayon?
Yeah, I was gonna say that the key word is capitalism, and it's everywhere, not even just the food industry. Like for example, on Instagram, I think one of the articles I talked about was how these influencers are making mukbang videos of eating large consumptions just of food and, and unhealthy food at that. So it's like capitalism is like the root of everything. And I think, like I was saying, as long as these companies are making the money, the government is like, yeah, just keep doing it. I don't care how you do it. And then they catch on to these trends though. Like the health trend is a thing now, so which is actually a good thing, but capitalism is still there. It's still like reeling people in. And that's why a lot of these companies are like, well, let's get on social media, let's get on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, these trends. Let's get onto that and then start promoting that within our model. And that way more people will come and buy our product or kind of see what we have going on. So capitalism is the key word. It's yeah.
Great question from YouTube. Thank you.
Okay, this is what happens when I type and I want to talk at the same time. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Great answers and very good questions and very good discussion tonight. I did also want to present you guys with a challenge, because I would not be myself if I did not issue a challenge. So 3, 2, 1. All right, so quick. So I was just called by a local dentist, and they basically said that they wanted to do some community outreach, especially for children who do not come to their practice. They do not know their mom and dad, but they know that there are kids out there who do not have insurance or who do not have dental care, and they have cavities, lots of them. And so what are 8 to 10 parent education campaigns that they can launch for the parents in their community who do not bring their child to the dentist? And not that they have to come to their specific dental practice, but they want them to go somewhere to seek care. In fact, they are willing, more than willing, to have a day on which the parents can bring their kids, to the school after school is let out, so that they can have like a very quick dental check. And so they are willing to volunteer their time for that, or even volunteer their time at the local clinic, at the local health clinic. But my question is, what are 8 to 10, I'm erring on the 10, 8 to 10 ways that we can launch parent education campaigns? And you can unmute or you can post it in the chat, but I am also taking notes in the chat to catalog your campaign ideas. And go.
I'd start, I'd say, with maybe a scare campaign for one. Show some photos of what can happen if you don't take care of your teeth. And unfortunately, I've seen probably more of that and that I would want to see in my life. But just something out there about, guys, this is what could happen to you. This is what happens when you're a kid. And I'm going to pick on myself here. One of my favorite movies when I was growing up is an Adam Sandler movie called Big Daddy. And my wife tells me that I've tailored my fathering strategy after that movie, apparently. But in that movie, Adam Sandler's with the kid. He's 5 years old, and he's giving him a root beer. And he said, well, mom said soda will rot my teeth. And he said, who cares? Your teeth, those teeth are going to fall out anyway. Right. I'll admit, when I was a dad, I told my wife that exact same thing completely unintentionally. Well, who cares? Right now, he's 5. His teeth are going to fall out. So an education campaign about if the teeth are rotted as children's teeth, they could potentially come in rotted as their adult teeth. Right. So educating campaign with a little bit of a scare tactic would be one of mine.
I think Uh, for me, I would want to try maybe kill two birds with one stone and maybe kind of do like a partnership with the local grocery store where it's a free case of water. And when the parents come up to get that free case of water or free something healthy, that we also say, hey, there is a truck with, the dentist. Like maybe the condition be like to get your free case of water, just go ahead and bring your kid for a free case for all parents, and there be like the dental truck, that movable van. Go ahead and get your kid checked out while you're here free of charge, kind of like a two-in-one. Because I know a lot of parents, the reason they're not going to these dental programs and stuff is they're afraid of the cost and price. And so I think if you pull them in with saying free on one thing, then you kind of like give them some knowledge about the other benefits that there are that are also free to them.
I kind of want to tie into what y'all said too about the educational programs and presentations, and maybe that um not could be like during school, so like the parents could be there, so maybe it's an after school program, but just kind of sticking with the basics, just what what's the best toothpaste out there? Because I know when I was a kid, I mean, these kid toothpastes, some of them just aren't really the best. Like they'll be different flavors, and they just really need to know what kind of toothpaste they need to be using, as well as flossing too. So just kind of sticking with the basics, and then maybe giving them some kind of goodie bag, like an incentive or something.
That if contacted by a local dentist, maybe tell the local dentist, maybe it seems kind of cheesy, but like a kid free screening or something if your parents come in, right? So if I bring my kid, then if I come in for a cleaning, free cleaning for your kid, just so they can see. I think a lot of it too with kids is they're scared, right? Especially if they haven't been to a dentist before, they hear the sounds, they get the pressure, the first time they get the pressure in their mouth. Um, finding ways to get them there that, again, if I'm a parent, um, do I want to take my kids? One, knowing that his teeth are going to already fall out anyway. Um, but do I want to take him at a young enough age where he or she can get comfortable? Again, I'm thinking about my son, but get comfortable going to the dentist, right? I think, we talked about youth engagement as one of the recommendations for future research. I think the same can be said for going to the dentist. Um, getting them comfortable, because if I were to take, if I hadn't started taking my son when he was 4 years old, to get haircuts, uh, to go to the dentist, um, by the time he's 7 or 8 and he goes and he starts to hear that drilling sound, even though we know it's just an electric toothbrush doing the cleaning, um, those are, I think just creating that comfort.
I think that another thing, with like kids, they like to watch cartoons and they watch YouTube videos a lot with like these like Blippi, Ryan's World, and like whatever else there is now. Maybe getting those people, those cartoons to provide a video of them going to the dentist and showing that it's okay, it's not a big scary thing, and maybe that will help ease the fear from the children and make them realize the importance of proper dental hygiene.
I think that's a really great idea too, Tanner. Like a Bluey episode on them going to the dentist or something like that would be really welcoming and inviting.
Okay, you guys, we have one left, and we are at our 10. One left. I did mention school districts. Can you think of anything else that's in town that you could partner with?
Churches.
Ooh,
Said one name.
okay. How?
Well, churches and daycares, right? Because then when you start to, and I think about that because You know, a lot of times, and especially in rural communities, right, the local church is the daycare, right? So whether it's through the church or through the daycare, you know, whatever they're offering, you know, we talk about school age kids and getting them there, but you know, doing things that can show kids that are 3 and 4 years old who may not necessarily be in school yet, the dentist is your friend, right? Like we're doing these things. Dress up in a cheesy tooth costume, right? Or dress up as a non-scary looking tooth fairy, right? I can't obviously say that because if I show up wearing a tutu and pretend to be the tooth fairy, all these kids are going to run screaming. So, you know, find someone who's inviting and welcome and say, hey, I'm the tooth fairy, and here's what happens when your tooth comes out, and here's how you can strengthen your teeth. And here's why it's important to take care of your baby teeth to prepare a good home for your forever teeth, right? And just kind of start that and almost like create our own Bluey episode in real life with some of these daycares and churches for young children.
I think that's a great idea, Nate, to piggyback off of that. I mean, having the tooth fairy come is just like when you go to the mall and see Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, and you know, they will sit and listen. I used to go to the mall to listen to Santa tell his story every single Christmas, so I would definitely be taking notes from the tooth fairy, making sure mine were healthy so they would stop by.
Maybe we can start a new trend where instead of sitting on the lap and asking for presents, you can have an interaction with the tooth fairy to negotiate your rates.
So when I was in
That way, you know, one kid doesn't get a quarter and one kid gets $10, right? Like, you know, hey, I went to the dentist every day. This teeth you get from me is going to be really clean. This one's a $10 tooth right here. Right?
This one is worth $20 if you keep it really clean and shiny.
Yes. Yeah.
So what about wisdom teeth? Are they worth more, you know?
Depends on how you have to show a report card.
So when I was in middle,
Great job, guys. Oh, sorry, Tanner, go ahead.
when I was in elementary school, we actually had somebody come in and they dressed like the tooth fairy. And she had a big old toothbrush. I still have a picture somewhere with her. Big old toothbrush, and people came dressed as teeth, and they did a whole like assembly about it. So that's funny that you brought that up. But yeah.
But the cool thing is you remembered that from like years ago. And so that's something that's like etched in your mind. And so that's awesome. You guys, great ideas on the fly. I mean, like you guys developed those ideas in like 7 minutes. And so kudos to everyone. Okay, so now it is 7:01. Usually I end with a takeaway, but we are not going to end with a takeaway today. And we are going to end with a congratulatory phrase. Congratulations to Veronica and Nate. You guys did an exceptional job reviewing the article, as well as I wanted to let you guys know that, your ideas have been exceptional this semester. So I really, really like reading your campaigns every week, even though it takes me like 6 hours to grade them. I really read every single word and try to leave a lot of feedback. And so great job this semester, guys. So we are going to end the live stream. So this is our last one of the semester. And so unfortunately, you'll have to go back and watch the other videos. But if you have any questions, please place them in the comment box below and we will definitely get back to you.